was wholesaling this deal. We have it locked up for $1.5 million. Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Good, Henry. How are you?
Doing fantastic.
Okay. I want to talk to you about a couple things, and then I think we can put this back together.
Okay, sounds good. What do you got?
If we put this back together, how long would it take you to close it?
Sub 60 days.
60 days.
Roughly,
Okay.
yeah.
So we're looking at mid-March.
Correct.
Okay. You don't think we could do any better? I'd like to try to close it by May 1st, but March 1st, but
I'll say it this way. I'll talk to my partner and see how fast we can do it, but I also don't want to say that I can and don't. You know what I mean? I'll say 60 is covering my ass, saying, like, I know I can probably close sooner, but, like, I also don't want to tell you I'm going to close in 40 days and don't. You know what I mean?
okay. In the last contract we tried to put together, there was a financing contingency.
Yep.
Okay. That's one of the things I'm worried about, because we get 45 days into this and he can't get the financing.
I understand that.
Then the whole thing blows up.
Why don't I speak to my partner about that as well? I also know that we can probably try to figure out a way to get that answered faster versus us waiting till last minute. You know what I mean? Like, it's either like we know we can't get financing whatsoever within the first 5 days or 10 days of contract versus us waiting around. You know what I mean?
Okay, because the financing part is, I don't know what he's going to rely on for financing, but we're not going to be able to show past tenant performance for the last year.
No, I understand that for sure.
That's what concerns me.
Has there been any payment whatsoever in the last 12 months?
Yeah, last week.
Well, but that's it?
Anything significant that I remember was last week, yes.
Okay, but I'm saying, like, you weren't paid, like, even if it was like $2,000 a week for the last year or anything like that, or anything
Yeah,
relatively
there
consistent?
There were some payments last spring, like $2,000 here, $2,000 there, yes.
Got it. Okay, I understand.
But there's nothing that I remember that says, they paid a full month. The bottom line is, when they stopped paying, they said, look, we have a employee retention credit. We're going to make this all up. And they're still waiting on the employee retention credit. If they go on the IRS or call the IRS, they said it's been approved.
They have the documentation signed and all that kind of stuff done already, or no?
The documentation for
the grant.
Employee retention credit?
Yes, and the credit, yes.
No, they haven't showed me any of that. The only documents I have is their contract. They sent me the contract for the preschool education program, and they sent me a copy of the purchase order. But the purchase order is 6 months, then it has to be renewed for the next school year. So these are the things I'm worried.
I mean, look, I definitely get that. I mean, look, getting...
I just want to be upfront with you. My other option is to take a loan against the property, which I've arranged, but I haven't signed off on.
I understand.
Okay, but if I could sell the property and not enter into that's a better option for me at this point.
Of course.
I was hoping it would restore itself to health, but in talking to just about anybody, they said, well, it's going to take a year before anybody's going to look at it. You're the only guy that approached me all along the way, said, look, I'll buy it pretty much as is, but we need some assurances that it's going to return to health.
For sure.
Everybody wants to see that it returned to health.
Do you have, is there any documentation that you can send me that you can send me in regards to the clarification of that the state or the town is willing to fund X, Y, and Z? Like, do you have any of that signed off or at all?
Yeah, I have the contract that they have. And I have the purchase order that the state issued.
Can you send me both of those?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, cool. So look, let me call my partner and I'll try to get back to you in the next 24 hours.
Okay. So PO, you need the contract and the purchase.
Yeah, as much information of documentation that I can show, the better.
Okay. Now that only takes about till August, and then for the next school year they have to renew, and that'll come about in June. But the underlying theory is, or presumption, I guess, is that if the township put all this effort into setting them up as the overflow preschool for the township, they're not going to pull it away from
Yeah, I mean, obviously, knock on wood, cross your fingers. But yeah, I agree. I understand. So, okay.
The other thing is, Don, and they told me this verbally because I went to visit them last week, is that it's put them on the map again, because now not only are they getting the township paid for kids, but they're getting the younger siblings. They apparently signed on 5 or 6 more kids as a result of just getting this program, because it's one-stop shopping for the parents who want to put in, little Timmy who was born last week.
Yeah, I mean, now if they just would pay their rent on time and the correct amount, it would be wonderful.
That would be perfect, yes. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get to, but their stupid contract didn't pay them till, it doesn't pay them till the 15th of each month.
Yeah.
And I want rent on the 1st, and we had discussed how I could address that. If I set my, amendment to the contract
Well, look,
Or is that
it's also we're also going to find out February 1st, right? Like if they're really trying to pay you or they're really not trying to pay you. I mean, look, let me talk to my partner about this, about everything we talked about. Send me what you said you could send over, and I'll see if we can try to put something back together. Okay?
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Bye. So this was a deal that we had together. It fell apart because then the seller decided not to sell anymore. So, because they wanted to keep it. They thought it was all going to be hunky-dory, blah, blah, blah. Point is, I called him back just to follow up because my buyer, I'm wholesaling this deal. I was wholesaling this deal. We have it locked up for $1.5 million, and I have a buyer for $1.7 million. So I am trying to see if we can try to put things back together again. Yeah, this guy, basically what had happened is that this guy, I originally had it locked up for $1.5 million. This guy was willing to pay me $1.9 million, and I was wholesaling it. And then the guy went to go see it, and the guy came back to me and said that he wanted to buy it for $1.4 million. I was like, you're out of your mind. I mean, like, you don't just get a $500,000 credit because you went to go look at a property. It was exactly what I told you. You're out of your mind. So I basically told him to kind of go himself because, like, I don't do business that way. Like, you don't tell me 1.9 to try to do something and then you cut me, $500,000, which it's like a 30% decrease for nothing. Anyways, I got incredibly pissed off, and he goes, listen, I spoke it over with my partners, would really like to reconsider this deal. Tell him I would offer $1.7 million. Anyways, look, if I can get the guy to agree, I just said, we would have had a deal if you came back to me and didn't waste 3 weeks, blah, 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 because the guy took so much time, didn't respond, his attorney didn't respond, he was dragging his feet, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I'm kind of hesitant about getting back into contract with this guy, but might as well, I don't have anybody else. So, long story short, that's where we're at. Hello, Martin? Yeah, hi, my name is Henry. I was calling you about a property you have on How you doing?
Okay, well, what about it?
I was calling you because I run a small investment company, and we're looking to expand the business we have here in Newark, and I was curious if you'd be open to selling the building.
Yeah, well, that goes for 6 million.
$6 million?
Yeah. So,
okay.
when you read for me?
Well, I'm curious. Look, I'm curious, Martin. Is the building going to be sold vacant, or is it occupied, or is it vacant?
What?
You said the building is occupied, or is the building vacant?
It's vacant.
It's vacant. Okay. How high are the ceilings?
16.
16 feet. Okay. And is there any office space in there, or is it just strictly warehouse?
Yes, it is office space.
Gotcha. Like a little bit, like a couple thousand feet.
Like a 2,000 square feet of.
You said 2,000.
Yeah.
Okay. And the building itself, it looks like the building itself is like what, 20,000 square feet?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right. And then just curious, would you allow me to rent the building before I close?
If I allow you to what?
I'm trying to buy the building occupied, right? Like I have a couple tenants that I'm looking to market the property to occupy it so that they can pay me rent before I close. Does that make sense? I don't want to buy a vacant building. So would you allow me to do that?
You already sound fishy. I mean, why? You first asked me if the building is vacant.
It looks like it's vacant. I'm looking to buy an occupied building, and that's why I run a small investment company locally, right? We buy buildings like this all the time. Ideally, we look for occupied properties where people pay rent and my investors can make a modest return. I'm not trying to occupy the building myself, if that makes sense.
I understand.
Yeah.
But no, when you sign the contract, then we talk.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not trying to do anything before I sign a contract. I'm just saying once we sign a contract, you would be open to something like that, correct? Okay.
Let's see first. If you're really interested, let me know.
Okay. Well, look, I am very interested. Is this your cell phone, Martin?
Okay. So you know the deal. So whenever you're ready, you let me know. I have my attorney.
Well, I'm curious. So. Okay. Again, Martin, this was your cell phone, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I could shoot you a text here. I got to run some numbers. Let me see how much I would be able to pay for the building. I know what you're looking for. I'll see how close I can get to that price. Were you buying this to occupy it yourself, or like to rent it out, or what?
No, I occupy it myself.
Oh, you occupy it yourself for your business. Again, just to clarify, if I was able to pay cash, close fast, make it easy for you, what do you think's the best price you'd be able to do here?
I don't know. It's 6 million, so that's the price.
Well, $6 million, for a building like this would be what, $300 a square foot?
That's not my problem. I already told you my price, so if you don't want to pay that.
No, I'm just asking questions. Martin, I'm not trying to waste your time. I'm just asking questions, my friend, right?
Right. So.
Well, because I can build a brand new warehouse for $300 a square foot. So I'm saying if I buy something existing, we typically have like we've worked on deals locally in town for $180 to $200 a square foot, which we feel like is a fairly good price. It's very, it would be very close. I mean, unless you think I could rent the building for like $40 a square foot.
I cannot make no predictions on your own stuff. You want to hire me as a manager, I maybe rented it for you, but this is on your own. After you own the building, I have no more longer business with you or the building.
I understand.
So it's an extra questions that is not necessary.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is I'm just trying to get a better gauge of the building. But listen, I'm not trying to waste your time. I hear you loud and clear.
But look, I'm in the middle of the drive-in, so send me a message, send me an email that I think is something if you want. Okay.
Okay, sounds like a plan, Martin. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Bye bye.